All righty, tidy. Quit your grinning and drop your linen. It's Alpha Male 2.0 with me, your host, Caleb Jones, God of War and Pestilence, Son of Ares. That reminds me of, most of you are too young to know this. We're doing something very different for this live stream podcast. I'll get to that in a second as people file in. Most of you don't know this because you're too young. Back in the late 80s, there was a made-for-TV movie about Thor. This is before Thor was a thing. It was from the same series as The Incredible Hulk from the 70s. Anyway, it was really stupid. It was stupid. Don't watch it. But you can probably find it on YouTube somewhere. But there was one funny scene where Thor, this guy is looking for someone, this little reporter guy. He knocks the door, and Thor opens the door. And he looks the same as Chris Hemsworth. This actor is like, he's like 7 feet tall, long blonde hair, and he's ripped, a giant. And he's just wearing a towel. And he has a giant pitcher in his hand. And the pitcher's full of beer, and he's just drinking out of the pitcher. And the guy's like, yeah, I'm looking for a man. And Thor says, you have found one. Well, no, I'm looking for a particular man. I am a particular man. Then I do my Karsa Orlong voice. Karsa Orlong. Karsa Orlong is a character from Malazan, Book of the Fallen, those of you who read those books. But yeah. I have conquered your village, and now I shall bed your women. Witness. And then like 18 years later in the series, he's outside that city, and like these 3 or 4 gigantic, tall teenage girls walk up to him, and he says, who are you? And the girls are like, well, remember all that fucking you did in our village about 18 years ago? Well, congratulations, Dad. We're your daughters. And he says, oh. Yeah. That's every alpha male's nightmare, right? Every, guy who's been with a lot of women, we all occasionally think about this. That's your night. You're having a great day. Everything's going great. Everything's just going swimmingly in your life. And there's a knock at your door. You open the door, and it's like some, 13-year-old girl, teenage girl, who looks a little bit like you. And you're like, who are you? And then you look at her and go, oh, no. And she goes, oh, yes. And you're like, well, I want a paternity test. And she's like, here you go. And she whips one out because her mom already did one, right? You're like, oh, shit. And then she's in your house. And she's a teenage girl in the 2020s today. So she's super depressed and has social anxiety, and she's super woke as fuck. And she's like, is your bathroom transgender friendly? You're like, oh my God. That could be, that'd be a great sitcom. I should do that. So some alpha male ex-player dude had some random hookup with some 18-year-old, 15 years ago. Now he's got this 14-year-old daughter who's woke as fuck, and just like, oh fuck. Is this biodegradable? Oh my God. You're like, oh my God. And the girl's mom, I can just keep going. The girl's mom is only 32 because she was 18 when you hooked up with her. So she's 32 and now she's on OnlyFans. She's like, my mom's taking back her power. She's on OnlyFans. She owns her body. She takes back her. You're like, oh my God, kill me. I should, I'm tempted. You guys let me know if you want me to do this. One of these days, if you guys really want me to, and a lot of you want me to do this, I don't think this is a good idea. I can do a live stream podcast like this and just complete stream of consciousness, just whatever comes into my head. I could go for 45 minutes of this stupid shit. I could do it. I don't know how much value it would be, but I could do it. Yeah, Western cultural collapse. That's correct. So today what we're going to do is something different. I'm going to try this as an experiment, see how this works. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to solicit from my audience things that you guys disagree with me on. And I'm going to respond to those things. So what I've done is, if you're on my mailing list, I sent out an email a few days ago saying, hey, if you have a disagreement, write in an email and tell me your disagreement. I will address it here on this live stream podcast. And then I didn't get very many. I got like just a few here. Got a few emails here. I'll go through those, and then I will attack you guys in the comments, not the comments, the chat. The chat. If you have a disagreement in the chat, then I will rewind the chat and I will address your disagreements there. Now, here's what often happens when I've done this in the past, when I've done this in my blogs. What often happens is a decent percentage of the guys who say, you think this and I disagree, you're wrong, is not something I think. I don't think that. I think this. We don't disagree. Oh, so that has been a very common problem in the past. So that's kind of another reason I'm doing this, is to clarify my views. Maybe that won't happen this time, but the last few other times I've done this over the years where I solicit disagreements, a lot of guys say, well, you do this, you shouldn't do that. I don't do that. Never done it in my life. Oh, well, you think this, you're wrong. I don't think that. I think this. We don't disagree. Oh, so we'll see. I don't know. I'll start reading emails in a little bit here. I see some of your disagreements already. I will rewind those. Cool. All right. How do I get help on my mission? Tried with your Facebook mods, but I only feel farther away than before. Tried being hyper specific. Feel like I'm losing hope on coming up with a mission. Are you over the age of 30? Because if you're not, you can skip it until you're 30. I don't know if that helps. Well, on TRT, have you ever preloaded the syringes for a few weeks? Yes. Not for a few weeks, but a week or two at a time. Yeah. Especially when I travel. You bet. No. Also, would you take a higher dose on occasion to decrease the injection frequency while traveling? No, I would absolutely not do that. That's a very bad idea. No. You don't want to fuck around with that stuff. No. Caleb, my girlfriend was watching The Bachelor the other day. Goddamn, Pink Firefly loves that goddamn show. Now they're doing the Golden Bachelor, right? Is that over with now? Where it's like a 75-year-old guy and they're all these old ladies? She loves that. She eats that shit up. That's, again, another one of these made for women shows that are very effective. Anyway, and I just couldn't believe how beta the show was. Well, it's not beta, it's feminine. There's a difference. The guy was emotional and crying, saying how much he hopes to find love. Yeah. So women eat that shit up. Oh, he's so not. Oh, and guys go, Jesus, you fucking pussy, right? Did you watch Who's the Boss with Tony Danza? I'm very familiar with that because that was my era, but I didn't watch that particular sitcom in the 80s. In the 80s, I watched the sitcoms. I watched the 80s. Cheers, which was hilarious. Night Court, which was pretty good. What other sitcoms I watched? Those are the two big ones. Cheers, Night Court. Oh my God, Golden Girls, which is one of the funniest shows ever fucking made. You know it's a good show when it's a show about four old ladies in a house and I was a teenage boy, I'll watch this show and just laughing their ass off. God damn, that's such a good show. I should watch one of those things. See if they still hold up. Because there's like the retarded one, and then like the bitchy one, and then like the really horny one who fucks all the guys. And then the little old lady is like, picture it, Sicily, 1930. Oh God, it was so good. So I wasn't into Who's the Boss. Not really. It wasn't my big thing. Hey, Caleb, I was watching my daily motivational videos and it came across an e-commerce guy that made $500,000 in sales by not focusing and listening to societal programming, Dave Fogarty. Okay, cool. Caleb, convince your audience that college, high school, and any form of school is child abuse and bullshit useless. Some of your followers will still believe that scam. That's accurate. You're right. That's why I said if you're going to have children now, you shouldn't have them unless you're going to homeschool them. Period. I've been very clear about this. Don't send your children to a public school or private school. That is child abuse. You're right. Now, no one's going to follow those, Guys will say, yeah, that's a good idea. And then they'll have some babies and they'll say, okay, so we're going to homeschool. And the little wifey people is like, no, I'm not doing that. Fuck you. Like, oh, okay, sorry. Colin, you're 35. Well, I can't help you because I don't know what your question is. What specifically is your problem, your mission? And I will do my best. I don't know if I can help you with this in a brief little live stream like this. We'll get started in about another minute or two with the disagreements and the debates. How about Three's Company genre? Yes, absolutely watch that. That was very good. It wasn't good. It was corny and shitty, but it was John Ritter was so talented. He drove that show. He was so good as like the player guy who acts gay. That was kind of his thing. Oh my God, that was good. So that was a good show. Yeah. Yeah, and then didn't she just die? Didn't Suzanne Summers just? Yeah, she did. She just died like 2 years ago, right? Yeah. So I watched that show. Hell yeah. Sophia Petrillo. Oh, you know her name? Yeah, she's awesome. And what's funny is Sophia. This is the oldest lady on Golden Girls. She was the youngest actress of those 4 actresses. They had to make her look older. She wasn't that old. That was just pure acting. She was awesome. That was such a great show. Golden Girls, the 2 funniest shows in my history, and I've been alive for coming up on 52 years now. Okay. 2 funniest shows ever made. Probably Golden Girls. I mean that. And Beavis and Butthead. Those 2. No other show made me laugh like, oh my, you're laughing your ass off. Golden Girls, Beavis and Butthead. Do you believe there's a level of existence, the here and now, beyond the physical world? Go watch my live stream here at Alpha Male 2.0 on my religious beliefs. It's either here or Sovereign. I think it's Alpha 2.0. I did it about 4 or 5 weeks ago. I answered that entire question. Should I get my Italian citizenship through a family member? My only citizenship currently is inside EU. I always say the default answer is yes. If you get more citizenships, do it. Yes. I'm going back for my Italian citizenship. Do you find some strong Sicilian or Italian traits in yourself? Some. Sicilians are very emotional, and I am not. But Sicilians are very loud, and I'm, as you might have noticed, extremely loud. So I'm very loud. I speak very loudly. I laugh very loudly. I laugh a lot. My body is very Sicilian. I am very broad, stocky. I have giant legs. I got giant shoulders, giant chest. I'm very broad. I look shorter than I am because I'm so broad. It kind of sucks. I'm 5'10" and a half, but I look, depending on how I dress, I can look shorter because I'm so wide. I'm like a dwarf from Lord of the Rings. Yeah. I thought TV was a waste of time. Correct. This was 30, 40 years ago when I wasn't an Alpha Male 2.0. I watched these shows. All right. So here's what I'm going to do. I received some emails from some of you. I'm going to go through the emails in the order in which I received them. And they are disagreements that I have solicited to my customer base, my audience. And I said, if you have any disagreements with any of my viewpoints, let me know and I will answer them. And as I mentioned earlier, the challenge I've had in the past is often, I'm sure I'm going to run into this today, a statistic when I have to, people will say, you believe this and you're wrong. And I'll say, I don't believe that. So a secondary purpose of this is to clarify my views, because I know from past experience, very easy to be misconstrued on the internet. No matter how many times you repeat a thing, there's going to be a percentage of people on the internet who think you think the opposite. All right, here we go. Let's see where I'm going to do the emails first, and then I will address you guys in the chat, in the live chat. If you have any disagreements with me there, and I will address those. Cool, but I'm going to do the emails first. I only have a few. I have everybody. Disagreement. And I will not mention the names. I don't have names. I took the names off these emails. I always do that because I don't want to answer the question based on whether or not I know you. So I don't know who these are from. Cool? I don't have a name or anything. And I'm not going to mention it because I don't know who it is. Okay, hang on. What's your email? You don't need to email me now. You're live. You can just type your disagreement. It's theonlyblackdragon@gmail.com, but I won't get it because it goes to my staff. It's too late. Just type it in the chat if you have a disagreement. All right, disagreement. Starting a business is easy just by hiring people on Upwork to fulfill. That's not exactly my viewpoint. I don't think it's easy, but anyway, he has more. In the digital marketing agency world, there is a belief that one must know how to personally fulfill on the biggest function of an ad agency, which is running ads. Okay. We don't care what people believe. People believe a lot of things. People believe in Jesus and God. People believe in Muhammad. People believe that Trump is going to build a wall. We don't care what people believe. We care what's effective. So I don't care what people believe. He goes on, going out into the marketplace and selling a $6,000 service that your outsourced partners can mess up or not deliver on what they claim, then what? Okay, this is the standard thing that I've addressed many times with listings. I can't hire anyone to do what I do because they might make a mistake. If that's your attitude, you've placed a permanent cap on your income. Now, if you just want to make $50,000 a year, $60,000 a year, maybe 80, maybe 100, maybe, and that's all you ever want to make, then you can have that attitude and do all of it yourself. If you want to make anything more than that, you have to get over this emotional thing of I can't hire anyone, or else, no one will, someone might make a mistake and that's just not a scalable attitude to have, right? How would Jeff Bezos have made anything he's made if he had that? I can't hire anyone, I have to do it myself. So your attitude is completely wrong. Now, if you want to do running ads and you want to do that yourself because it's an ad agency and you have this false societal program that says you have to do it, you're welcome to do that. Then you better outsource everything else so you can only focus on running ads. I'm in a mastermind group with a few heavy hitters, guys who have, equivalent or greater incomes than mine. And there's a guy in there who he doesn't have a marketing agency. He sells a coaching service, a few of them. And most of his job is running ads. That's all he does. However, he's hired people on Upwork and a bunch of other places to do everything else. So if you want to run ads, that's fine. We don't disagree, but you better outsource everything else so you can focus on running ads. And then as you scale, you do want to outsource running ads. So not quite a disagreement, but you disagree by my overall point that I made earlier. So, all right, cool. Next disagreement. Okay, here's a disagreement. You often say when you face resistance about non-monogamy, you use the line, every boyfriend you've ever had has cheated on you, right? Yes, I've used that. I don't use that every time I get resistance, but I've used it a few times on several women and it has worked well. Yes. But in my experience, this line doesn't always work. Correct. No technique always works. I didn't know if you knew that. So I have a lot of techniques. No technique I give you on dating or relationship models or that stuff will work 100% on every woman. So far we don't disagree. Let's see if we end up disagreeing here. So you're right. Sometimes my techniques aren't going to work on some girls. That's right. A lot of girls I sleep with have had a succession of pussy beta male boyfriends who have done nothing but loyal to them, who have been nothing but loyal to them. So they are under the impression that not all men cheat and that they just need to find the right man. Of course, we both know that the real reason the relationships ended was because they got bored with their beta male boyfriends, but they never admit that. So a few things, two things actually. How many girls? A lot of girls you've slept with. Okay. You need to find a lot. What my experience is with guys say, a lot of girls do this. And you ask them, you get down to the specifics, it's 2 or 3 girls. So out of 20 girls, 2 or 3 did this. Is that a lot? No, a lot would be like 40%. That's a lot. 40% are like this? 40% are like, no, okay. Number one. Number two, I don't know what age of women you're dating. If you're dating younger girls, like 19-year-olds, 18-year-olds, 20-year-olds, that line won't work as well because they haven't had enough boyfriends yet. If you say it to a woman who's 35 or 30 or 27, she's gonna be like, right? So I don't know if you're leaning in the direction of younger girls. I don't know when you say a lot of girls, what the exact percentage is. I have a feeling it's less than you think, unless you're exclusively banging like 18-year-olds, which I doubt, but I don't know, maybe you are. So we don't, and yes, everything I teach, nothing I teach works 100% on 100% of women. Every technique I give you will fail on some women. That is normal. So we don't disagree. Okay, let's do the next one. It is not logical, rational on your side to group Australia with declining US and Europe. Okay, I don't believe this. I have said many times, Australia is not collapsing. Shit, here we go again. All right. So what I have said maybe 100 times, I've done entire videos on this. Australia and New Zealand are part of the Western world, but they are not collapsing. Instead, they are stagnating. They're going to stagnate. And my metaphor is that they're going to float like a turd in the pool. They're just going to float around and not do much and have lots of problems. But they're probably not going to collapse. So I don't group Australia into declining US and Europe. That's why I call it the collapsing trifecta. 3, which means United States, Canada, and Europe. I don't include Australia in there. So again, we do not disagree. Now, he has a lot more to say, but maybe he's Maybe he's going to recover himself. Australia's economy is strong with good prospects. Okay, now on that we disagree. You are factually incorrect. A few stats from Australia's economy. You must live in Australia, love Australia. Shit. Steph, I already said this. You came in late. Yes, I'm going to debate you in the chat after I'm done with the emails. Take a deep breath and relax, and don't call me misleading. Thank you very much. So anyway, Australia, the people in Australia, highest levels of consumer debt in the entire Western world by far. Google it if you don't believe me. You guys have so much fucking debt in Australia, it's goddamn ridiculous. On top of the fact you're facing a massive real estate bubble. But even if there's nothing wrong with your real estate forever, your real estate cap rates in Australia, I don't know if you live in Australia. I'm assuming you are. If you're not, then I apologize. For the rest of this, I'm going to assume you live in Australia. You like it. The rest, you will be writing this email about defending Australia. Your cap rates, I have a Sovereign CEO logo. Fuck, hang on. God damn it. Hang on a moment. There we go. In addition to having the most consumer debt of any Western country in the world, your cap rates for your real estate is like 1%. Your real estate fucking sucks in Australia. It sucks. Next statistic. Australia just reported a few months ago that they had a 5% decline in average lifestyle. Quality of life, in terms of, there's a bunch of factors that go to this, a decline by over 5%. It was like 5.3%. The largest decline of any Western country in the world. A lot of Western countries reported an increase, like 2% increase. Australia is I forget the exact number. Google it if you don't believe me. 5.3% decline on top of the greatest consumer debt of any Western country. Australia sucks. Their economy is terrible. You are factually incorrect when you say the economy is strong with good prospects. You are going to benefit, as I've said 10,000 times, from your proximity to Southeast Asia and China. That's the only reason, and I mean this, that is the only reason Australia is not going to collapse. If they weren't that close, geographically blessed, they'd be fucked. Something else on that. China is still on the rise, but China's going to have a lot of problems. If China has any serious problem, Australia is fucked. You know why? Because Australia's economy relies on hard resource exports, iron ore, natural gas, shit like to China and Southeast Asia. Any problem in Asia, you're fucked. So you are correct if we don't disagree. Australia's not going to collapse. If you really think Australia's economy is strong, good prospects, you have not done the research and you're factually wrong. Let's see what else you say here. And benefit from being right next to growing Southeast Asia in the long run. I've said that 100 times. We don't disagree. Yes, Australia has been somewhat authoritarian. Yeah, that's why I call it authoritarian Australia. Yep. Let's see here. Let's see. Sorry. Yes, Australia has been a somewhat authoritarian, but so has always Singapore, which you praise. You cannot compare a country that has always been authoritarian to a country that used to be free and is now authoritarian. Singapore has always been authoritarian since the 60s. Lee Kuan Yew was very clear about this in Singapore. We are authoritarian here. If you move here, you better realize that we're fucking authoritarian. You don't like it, fuck off. And Singapore's been like that from day one. Is Australia like that? Has Australia always been like that? No, Australia was like, we're free. This is a free country. We believe in freedom, 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 freedom. And then, oh, by the way, if you go more than 3 miles away from your house, we'll throw you in jail. And a bunch of people in hazmat suits will throw you in prison. And people are like, what the fuck? You cannot compare countries that have always been authoritarian and being honest about it to countries that used to be free and have now changed their minds, like Australia, Canada, Western Europe, and America. Now we're not free. Fuck you. You cannot make that comparison. You're comparing apples to dump trucks. Yes, taxes can be high if you don't manage them well in Australia. No, they're high no matter what. But that doesn't make it a declining country. That's correct. We don't disagree. That's nothing. Tax policy has nothing to do with whether a country is declining or not, right? It's an oversimplification of you to put Australia in the same basket as you. I don't. You're wrong. It seems you might be driven by your personal bias. I think years ago you shared your podcast. You looked at moved to Australia. Yes, I love Australia, but I had a bad experience personally because they wanted to tax me. That has nothing to do with the economy of Australia. And I've said 10,000 times, Australia is not going to collapse. We don't disagree. The only part we disagree on is if you think, quote, Australia's economy is strong with good prospects. Factually incorrect. Okay. This isn't good, guys. So far, let's hope the next one is something I actually disagree with. Next one. Caleb has reported reducing his rotation right down maybe to just 2 MLTRs. Disagree. Okay. I have an OLTR, so I can't have any MLTRs. And this is anything new. I've had an OLTR for like what? 7 years now? My rotation, I have one OLTR at about 16 active FBs in various countries. Does that sound like I reduced my rotation? Now, I did. I had a lot of, when I was in the United States, I had a lot more FBs that were consistent. I have less per city now, but I don't do MLTRs, and no. I disagree. We've learned from him earlier, no matter how much you like them, this will make you much more outcome dependent when things go badly. I have 16 FBs. We don't disagree. That is not what I'm doing. Next thing here. Caleb struggles through repeated, what he reports, very high stress travel. No, frequent travel. It's not that the travel is stressful, it's that it's frequent. And when it goes overnight, it's kind of a pain in the ass. Sounds like coach class. Struggles with luggage and stopovers. Wrong. Wrong. I just flew back to the United States. Business class. It was wonderful. I fly business class often. Sometimes I fly coach. Even when I do fly coach, I check in using business class because most of the flights are Emirates Airlines because I live in Dubai, and I am a silver tier, silver or gold. So I check in with all the business class people. So wrong. Luggage, I do not struggle. I've said this 10,000 times. I travel with one bag. I don't check on any bags. It's a backpack that's right over there. I travel with one bag, very light. I never have any luggage problems or troubles because it goes with me wherever I am. So, boy, wrong across the board. Let's see what else you say. Even with a good background health, this is likely to kill him or incapacitate him with stroke. What? Show me your data. What? Which will completely mess up his plan. Simplify your routes, man. You don't think I don't simplify my routes? You think I purposely take the most difficult routes to get to my locations? I've been traveling internationally for over 20 years. You don't think I know anything about this? Keep living the life, but lower stress every time. Business check-in, I already do that. And ship your stuff ahead by courier when you set up your new base. No, I don't travel with luggage. I don't check luggage. You're wrong. Same guy. Oh boy. Caleb has a 2% rule for risk. Brilliant strategy, man. But at 2% a year, if you have likely to have something pretty devastating happening within a lifetime. Why do you think I'm taking 2% risks every year, consistently every year? Most of the 2% rule stuff I do is a fraction of 1%, not 2%. The odds of me dying from a stroke because I travel at age 51 in good health, it's not 2%. It's a fraction of 1%. Back that down to 1%, already have, and you'll be more likely to, okay, so I'm just going to skip this part. That's not correct. Caleb says don't have a car. This is all the same guy. Caleb says don't have a car, depends on the country. Agreed. Uber is far more stress-free, and not being dependent on a car is great. Okay, good. But, he says, having a cool but old jalopy stowed away can be very cheap if done right, and means you can bug out far more easily in many crises when the taxis and trains are not working due to the crisis. That's fine. I don't disagree with that. That's sure. Cool. When I say don't drive a car, you know what I'm talking about. It means using a car every day. I'm not talking about what you're talking about. I'm not talking about getting a car and never using it in case of an emergency. So we don't disagree. Being dependent of women's favors to transport make you much more of a needy kid rather than independent man. Where have I recommended that? Rely on a woman to drive you around. What the fuck? Agreed that Alexis or Hana impresses no one. Okay. Okay, guys, we're not doing great here. I'm getting numerous things where I don't disagree. All right, I'll keep going. I have a few more here and they'll get to the chat. Let's see. Please be better. DJ, you mentioned on numerous occasions that 35 is the minimum age to have an OLTR wife. The minimum age for the man. Yes, not for the woman. The man, yes, correct. I have said that. However, this doesn't take into account the fact that guys in your audience could be waiting out a while to settle down and then hit hardcore provider hunters, leading to undesirable dating conditions. Firstly, obviously, unless she was in a roster or rotation before age 30 or 31. What? That makes no sense. When you're 34, you can date a woman who is 26, date her for a year or two, and marry her when you're 36. Why is the only women you can marry women who have been in your life 5 years and they were 35 years ago? That doesn't make, what you just said makes literally no sense. Secondly, men overwhelmingly and empirically determined by statistics marry women within 3 years of their own age. Is that statistical? I don't know. I would need to see some statistics links on that. You don't provide any, but okay, it's fine. That's fine. Not all of us plan on having a wife 8 or 9 years younger than ourselves, as certain people do. That's fine. Sure. For better or for worse, the metaphorical biological clock still exists in women's minds. Yes, making this an untenable situation for both dating and procreating. Why? When you're 35, you can marry a 35-year-old woman. What's wrong with this? Again, I'm not understanding anything you're saying. I married a woman who was 37. It worked out great. We started dating when she was 33, 37. I think Pink Firefly was 37 when we got married. I think that's right. Could be off a year. 36, somewhere in there. It's fine. What's wrong? You're not making any sense. Thirdly, the notion that we might not have enough money to settle down isn't very likely. Are you kidding? In today's economy, it's very likely. Men in their 20s make less money than women in their 20s. It's extremely likely. Incorrect. Most guys, if not most, many guys, if not most, end up marrying professional career women. False. What the fuck? That is not correct at all. Professional career women, most men don't marry. No. Women with real post-nominal credentials like MD, RN, CPA, JB, and PhD. Most men marry women who are doctors? I wish I knew who this was. You're insane. No, that is factually incorrect. I'm sorry. Jesus Christ. I have as MLTRs a veterinarian, a CPA, an actuary, a pilot, and an FB, private equity analyst, all six-figure earners. What? You're dating 5 women who are six-figure earners, and you think that's typical? No, you are in a very, if what you're saying is true, I'm going to take it as I'm going to assume you're telling the truth here. You are in a very strange circumstance. Let me prove it to you right now, whoever you are. If you watch the recording of this, you can see the chat. You guys, the chat, can you please let me know, any of you guys, the chat, unless it's you who wrote the email, you don't count, okay? Unless it's you who wrote the email, please put in the chat, you are dating at least 5 women right now, all of whom make $100,000 a year or more. Go ahead, I'll wait. Let's see how many we get. Go ahead. This guy says most men. So we should have several people here. I'll wait about 15 seconds. What the fuck? I don't see any yet. Mark Smith says, me. You're dating 5 women. Did you write the email? You're dating 5 women and all 5 make $100,000 a year or more right now. Right, Mark? Or did you write the email? So, Mark, confirm what I just said. I would be shocked if we get even 1 person, unless you wrote the email. Not 5. Thank you very much. So there's 0. All right, well, I waited about 20 seconds. 4. Okay, 4. 1 guy is dating 4. I've met only 1 woman who's made more than 6 figures, extremely rare. Correct. Not my email. 3 in the past. I'm not talking about ever. This person's saying he's dating them right now. All right. So you wrote the email. If you're watching live or you watch the recording, you are in a weird, unusual scenario. Let's move on with what you're saying. Alpha 2.0s tend not to make shit for money. What? That's not true. Or marry the local hairdresser, kindergarten teacher, or struggling real estate agent. Yes, yes. Should we make enough over 6 figures US, we can't settle down earlier to prevent age 35 problems, especially since women who also contribute to the total household income. I don't understand what you mean. And singing women turn strange at about 33. Men could hit their own wall at 35. Okay, what you're saying here, you're not disagreeing with me. You're just asking, you want to break one of my rules. What you're saying here is I'm younger than 35 and I'm super needy for whatever reason, and I want to get married right now. It doesn't matter why you violate one of the cardinal rules. This is not a cardinal rule, but one of the rules I talk about. If you violate the rule, it doesn't matter if you have good reasons you think to violate the rule. If you get married when you're 27 or 30 or 31, your odds of getting a divorce, having huge problems down the road, go way up. When you are 30, literally early 30s, you're a child. I don't mean that as an insult. It's true. Men in their early 30s, they are children, and you are not prepared to have an OLTR marriage yet. Most men at 35 aren't prepared. So if you want to go ahead and get married sooner than 35 and break my rule, go right ahead. Your odds are very low of long-term success. But the rule stands, and the rule makes sense, and most of you said is crazy and incorrect. Number 2, coupling up and having kids. This is the same person, different disagreement, I think. Coupling up and having kids strictly under a dual live-in model with an OLTR wife who lives nearby with the kids' pets. Yes, it's fine. Who never sleeps over, nor the guy. Okay, that doesn't happen. If you're married to a woman in an OLTR marriage and you're doing dual living and she lives in a separate place, she will spend the night at your house sometimes, and you will spend that at her, and or you will spend that at her house. Trust me, that will happen. So what you just said is false. But as an OLTR wife in every other sense, why can't the minimum age fall? Oh God, here you go again. Why can't the minimum age for this fall 35 and not prescribed 35? Isn't cohabiting still on everything? Okay. No, that doesn't magically change the 30 when you are less emotionally equipped to manage a marriage just because she doesn't live in your house full time. No. And you're raising kids. And I agree that helps. 100% there. That's why I talk about this. More guys should do that. It doesn't make it 30. If you want to get married now, here's the question. This is not just for you. Also, for all of you guys who want really hot to trot to get married. Why are you in such a rush to want to get married? This is not just you. A lot of guys have asked, well, can I get married when 20? Why are you such a rush to get married? Why can't you wait 5 years? Why can't you wait 10? What's the rush? Why are you so needy about this? Ask yourself that question. So that's not a disagreement. I guess it's a minor disagreement, but you're in a weird scenario and okay. Let's see. I have a buddy who said you can't juggle 2 women at a time. Look at the richest men in the world, Bezos and Gates. If they couldn't do it, what makes you think you can? Because they committed to monogamy and violated that rule, and strong, independent Western women with authority don't like that. So if you're going to cheat on your wife, the odds are good she's going to eventually dump your ass, right? So he's right. He's just making a jump. Your Alpha 2.0 dating system doesn't address dating younger women without your sugar daddy suggestion. Yes, it does. I have an entire... Well, I guess it's good I'm doing this because people are all confused. I have an entire book called The Ultimate Younger Woman Manual on how to date women as young as 18 without giving them any money. I have dated numerous dozens of women between 18 and 23 for almost a decade before I ever touched sugar daddy game. I have an entire book on how to do it. And I believe I also have a course on how to do that too. So incorrect. You mentioned since you've been above 50, the majority of dating women in your 20s, 30s are now mostly sugar daddy model. Correct, because I'm international. Isn't sugar daddy a form of prostitution? Yes, it is a form of prostitution. What about us guys who don't want to pay for sex young women? Buy my book, The Ultimate Younger Woman Manual. It's an entire book this thick. There's one chapter on sugar daddy game. The entire rest of the book is getting laid with women who are 18 to 23 or older without paying them a dime, as I did for 10 years. See, I'm educating the audience. Let's see what else here. What am I doing here? Your Alpha 2.0 dating model doesn't, this must be the same guy, doesn't work in major metro areas with 1 million people or less population who don't have enough women to support alcohol. You are wrong, but you're close. But I've said this. My models do not help men who live in cities under 400,000. So it's not 1 million, it's 400,000. If you live in a town or city below 400,000, yeah, online dating is going to be a nightmare. Yes, and I've said this many times, you need to move to a bigger city or sacrifice on some aspects of your woman life. Yes. Okay, is that it? Oh, one more here. One more? Yeah, one more. I'll get to the chat. You can't fully protect from skin-conditioned STDs by simply wearing a condom. Correct. I've said this many times, but the odds do increase. Your odds of not getting herpes, which is a skin-conditioned STD, your odds of contracting that go way down if you wear a condom. That is a fact. Go look it up. I've quoted the statistics in my blogs. But you're right. It's not 100%. You're right. Most HPV and HSV transition points are outside the area of condom use. I need to see data on that. I've never read that. I've never come across that. I've never seen that. Most guys I know anecdotally who have had HPV, it's on their dicks. Yeah, it's on their penises or right at the base. And I'm sure there's others who haven't. So that would be protected by a condom, which means they got it from inside the pussy, which means they would have been protected had they worn a condom. But you're right. It's not 100%. You're right. It's not. I've had sex with the number of women I've had sex with is well into the triple digits. I got my last STD test, 4 months ago, and I get tested for like 12 different things. I'm 100% clean. How do you explain me? Wearing condoms and a few other precautions, which I've talked about in detail, do work. All right, I think that's it for the email. Now let's go to the chat. All right, in the chat, and I can't go forever, but I will do my best. You guys are having a lot of things here. I'm going to scroll back up the chat. I'm going to address your disagreements in the chat. Let's see here. You can't be open relationship discreet. People will see your dating profile. If you're in larger cities, you're safe. If you're in smaller cities, you hide your profile. If you're terrified about this, you hide your profile and then you unlock your profile to women who you want to swipe or match to. Some apps will let you do that, some won't. But that's true. That is a risk in smaller towns. Yes. Let's see here. You advise against long distance MLTRs. Did that blog post go up today? Yeah, it did it? But does that mean it would be impossible to have anything but FBs if you're living 2 or 3 countries like the Andrew Henderson's trifecta method? No, you can have an OLTR. I said OLTR is good. If you're long distance, OLTR is workable. She travels with you as best she can. If she doesn't, you're apart for a few months like I am right now with my wife. And FBs. FB's good. OLTR is good if you're careful. MLTR is no, if you're long distance. Let's see here. I'm skipping over the questions. I'm just looking at disagreements here in the chat. I don't understand your argument about Israel being Alpha 1.0 specifically. That was a joke. I'm not making a literal comparison. I was making a joke about, you mentioned it started in the 1960s. What happened in the War of Independence in the 50s? So my joke about Israel was, it is a guy at the bar who's an alpha male 1.0, like, not literally. And he's that guy from Stripes who says, you fucking touch me, I'll fucking kill you. And so Israel's like this. It's not hurting anybody yet. He's not hurting anyone. He's sitting in his chair like this. He's the biggest guy in the bar. He's like, anyone fucking touches me, I'll fucking kill you, motherfuckers. Oh, you better not fucking touch me. You better not. And some guy comes over and goes, fuck you, man. And he pokes him. He pokes him in the shoulder. Not Hamas. Hamas is a serial killer on the other side of the bar. That's my analogy. But some guy pokes Israel. He's like, and he goes, rah! And he grabs his head and he bashes his skull against the table and blood squirts everywhere. And he goes back, Liz, all right, you better not fucking touch me. That was my analogy. Not necessarily it's an Alpha 1.0. You think the U.S. became such a feminist shithole considering men going back in history there have mostly been the people in power? How the fuck did these pussies let the bias? Oh, that's not a disagreement. I'm only looking for disagreements, folks. My main point, what would you do in Israel's case? What I would do is something that will never happen. I would give them whatever they wanted and then wall it off. So whatever the Palestinians or Hamas wants, I would just give it to them. Now they want the whole thing. You can't get that. But whatever they want outside of that, I would just give it to them. It is surrounded by countries that want to eliminate it as offered philanthropy. Look, here's the point. Israel is not your problem, and Israel is not my problem. Here's what you do. You don't live in Israel, and you don't give a shit about this, and you live your life. Instead of going, oh my God, Israel, I'm so mad about this. That means your life is in chaos. If you really give a shit about Israel, even if you're Jewish, I have Jewish friends. I've dated Jewish girls. Even if you're Jewish, you shouldn't give a shit about this the same way the woke people shouldn't give a shit about Hamas. Fix your fucking life and live your life. There will always be problems in the world. And if you're going to get obsessed about this, you're ruining the whole point of being alive. And I would argue your life is in chaos. If what's going on in Israel or the war in Ukraine is really fucking bothering you, your life is in chaos. That shouldn't be bothering you. You should be focusing on yourself and your family. Let's see. Let's see here. Do we have any other? I'm ignoring questions. I'm only looking at disagreements for this live stream. South Africa is absolutely a collapsing Western country. No debate on my side, just stating facts. Disagree. I do not disagree. I've said this. South Africa is collapsing. Correct. In your video, I've never talked about this video. You said you viewed gay men in a similar category as men with a specific fetish. Yeah, I kind of do, yes. Do you separate what sexual orientation is and what a fetish is? I mean, I view them in the same category. What I meant in that video was there are guys who are into weird shit, right? There are guys who are into women peeing on them. It's different. It's not the norm. And by the way, if that's you, I don't care. Great. Have women piss on you. That's great. I'm sure I'm into things that a lot of guys wouldn't like sexually. Fine. So if you're a man attracted to other men instead of women, I kind of put that in the same category as you're attracted to something that most men are not into. Most men are not gay. So I kind of put them in the same category. Yeah. Sort of. Yeah. Okay. What makes you think Canada is collapsing slower than the US? A lot of our people are moving to the US for better opportunities. We're also capping immigration. That is a guess on my part, mainly because your banks are better off than US banks. That's the main reason I say that. Your banking structure in Canada is a lot less bad than the US. US is fucked. 3 out of the 4 biggest bank failures in all of US history all happened last year. You see Canadian banks failing all the place? Yeah. Everyone goes to the US. I've explained this because people think that's where all the money is. And it is for the moment, but you don't buy high. Moving to the US now is buying high. You buy low and you sell when things are high. Last week you said it was immoral to leave a girl even if she trapped you with a baby. She forgot. That's not what I said. That's not what I said. She forgot to take the Plan B pill to give her. Am I still the immoral one? Okay, no. Here's what I said. It is immoral, in my opinion. This is not Alpha 2, but this is Caleb's opinion. To go around impregnating women all over the earth on purpose because you want to have kids, but you don't want to raise them. And you're creating a bunch of children who don't have dads. That, in my opinion, is immoral. If a woman traps you and lies to you, oh, no. I've been very clear about this. Fuck you, bitch. If she literally lies to you and traps you into doing it, fuck you. Let's see. Caleb, could you please add South Africa list of collapsing Western countries? Because often people do not consider South Africa as a Western country. That would cause confusion. So I will not do that. Let's see. Am I actively on Seeking? No. My wife is in the United States right now. Is there a guide for Seeking? I just talked about this. The ultimate. So there's 2 things I've got. Ultimate Younger Woman Manual. You can look at that book and a course. Then I have 2 mini courses on sugar daddy games. Specifically, if you go to sovereignCEO.io/NC, those mini courses are there. Okay, here we go. A disagreement. You say in your OLTR that it should be open. I disagree. You want monogamy? Monogamy doesn't work long-term in the Western world. If you move to a country where you can have leverage like Colombia, you can leverage your status and keep it closed on her side while you're open. Women in Colombia are not robots and they're not angels. If you're out banging a bunch of girls in Colombia and you say, hey, Colombian girlfriend or wife, you won't bang other men because I'm a Western man and I have a lot of money. So she might say, okay, if you're really strong and she's very submissive, she might say, okay, for a while, and then she'll dump your ass or go fuck your brother. And I mean that literally. So no, Just because she's in Colombia doesn't suddenly make one-sided open relationships work long-term. Short-term, yes. You can do it for a year, 6 months. I've never seen it last longer than 9 months unless there was lots of money involved. That's the one loophole. If you pay her hundreds of thousands, that's what Andrew Tate does. If she makes hundreds of thousands of dollars a year by being with you, then she might not fuck other guys, maybe. Other than that, no. You mentioned your wife only does it with you by her own choice. What? Does what with me? Sex? I don't understand. How would you feel if she suddenly overtly agrees to go full open relationship and has as many FBs, LTRs as you? Would you care or not? She can't have an LTR. It's an OLTR relationship. She's only allowed to have FBs. Would I care? Not really. Wish she had 16 FBs in many different countries? No, I would not care. Now, there would be more discussions about sexual safety. These guys better be wearing condoms. And I have to trust. No, I wouldn't care much. I'm too busy working on my mission, traveling the world, working on my wonderful life, and banging other chicks. So I wouldn't care very much. But we would have some conversations. By the way, Pink Firefly and I began together in some form or fashion for 10 years now. A decade. Before we were married, she did some shit. I didn't care. Didn't give a shit. I'm not a jealous guy. Let's see. I cannot wrap my head around allowing your GF wife to sleep with other men. What is your alternative? If you say, and I've been talking to men about this for 15 years, if you say, well, I would never do that, what exactly is your plan, David W? So if you're going to say, if I'm with a woman, she can never fuck a guy except for me for the rest of her life, the next 57 years. Tell me how you're going to make that work, especially in the Western world. But even the non-Western world, explain to me how you're going to make that work with high odds of success when your odds of success are about 6%. Eventually, she will fuck someone else or she will leave you because it's not fair. So if you don't like, I'll answer your question. If you don't like it, you got to provide me an alternative that is very specific. Not, I'll just be alpha. That's not specific. I give you a specific plan that will work long-term. Does that go against all of your innate biological wiring? Some biological wiring. Yes, you're right, it does. How does this fit with our evolutionary psychology? I don't care. I only fit. How does it fit with my long-term consistent happiness? If I have a big breakup in my monogamous relationships or marriage every 5 or 6 years, I got to go through a big breakup and my wife leaves me or my girlfriend leaves me and I'm sad, depressed. Then I got to get a new girlfriend and then be happy for all, and then another breakup because monogamous was working. That would be a fucking nightmare. I'd jump off a goddamn cliff. What is less bad is you say to your wife or girlfriend, if you really want to fuck other guys, that's fine. I'm going to be banging chicks every week. Make sure they wear condoms and here's the ground rules. And up to 50% or more women won't do it. It's a part you're forgetting. My wife has no interest. I've dated many women who had no interest. And if there's someone who did have an interest, that's a woman. Let's see. One issue relates to your belief in intelligent design. I mentioned anthropic principle. You said you weren't familiar. You should know it before continuing to believe in intelligent design. All right, I'll take a look, but I don't believe in intelligent design. Oh, yeah, I do. I do believe in intelligent design. All right, I'll look it up. You can summarize it in 2 or 3 sentences if you'd like. Oh, is this it? Intelligent life will only emerge in a finely tuned universe, so it shouldn't be too impressive that we live in this universe as opposed to those that aren't less finely tuned. Why is the universe finely tuned? That doesn't answer intelligent design. I still believe it. Let's see. Some of you are talking to each other. Okay. Okay. Still looking for disagreements here. Here we go. I think one. You say Alex Jones is bonkers. Yes. Watch the court transcript videos when he was in court about 2 years ago. Watch him. He's insane. He's got mental issues. Yes. How can he be crazy when everything he predicted came true? Everything he predicted? Some things he predicted came true. About 25% of things he said came true. The other 75%, he's a maniac. 9/11, jabs, elections getting stolen. Yeah. Everything Alex Jones says comes true. You are completely factually incorrect. Not everything. About 20%. He has said all kinds of shit. That fetuses were being ground up in Coke bottles. That the ring of fire was all going to ignite a few years ago and the volcanoes would have destroyed the earth. He said all kinds of wacky shit that didn't come true. You are factually incorrect. Polygamy will not be the standard in the future, but it'll be more popular, at least in the US. I don't disagree with that. Don't disagree. Don't think there's anything I flatly disagree. I think you're pretty. Don't think there's anything I flatly disagree with you on. You're pretty damn reasonable. Thanks for everything. You're very welcome. You say Russian women aren't good to date. Unless you like drama, that is correct. That is empirical. Yes. Would it be fair to say it's mostly Western Russian girls who are like that? Something women in Russia are a lot chiller. I have said many times that I have no experience dating Russian women who live in Russia. But I know a lot of Russian women here in Dubai. I have a lot of experience with Russian women in various other countries. And I find it hard to believe that the only women who are Russian, who are high drama, demanding, and difficult, are only the ones that cross the border and leave Russia. And all the ones who stay in Russia are sweet little sweethearts. Very difficult time believing this. At some point, I will visit Russia and I will check it out for myself. I'm pretty sure I'm right about this. Caleb likes Trump. No, I don't. He's one of the worst presidents in my lifetime. If you're a libertarian. And I am. Is the only study you base income level happiness on the Kahneman study on self-report? No, it's not that study. I forget the name. There's two others, at least two others. Because lots of people shows happiness and research showing people are dirt poor. I addressed all that in the happiness podcast that I did. I addressed all that in great detail. Go listen to that podcast. You're right. The six-figure location the six-figure location dependent consultant course doesn't have an active payment button. It doesn't. Let's check. Really? Location. What's the name? Six-figure iConsultant. Let me make a note of that. I'll double check. I don't think that's right, but you might be on an outdated site, but I will look at that. Hang on. I'm feeling you're looking at the wrong webpage, but I will check it out. Hang on. I will check at that. Okay. Bobby, I cannot answer that question publicly. Sorry. Caleb, are you vaccinated? Fuck no. I don't not get a vaccine. Why would I get that? I live in a country that didn't require them, so I don't need to have one. So hell no, I'm not vaccinated. Here's a disagreement. A pure right libertarian economy of zero taxes and zero government spending will result in immediate collapse. First of all, that's not true, but it is not my belief. I am a minarchist libertarian. I am not an anarchist. What you're referring to is anarchy, which I do not support because that would not work. Not because it would collapse, but because and I've done videos on this and articles. If you had an anarchist world or truly anarchist country with no government or zero government spending, the next day people would start forming governments because unfortunately human beings like government. So my belief is, yes, you can have government. Keep it small, local, and decentralized. Small, local, and decentralized. The split second it starts getting big, centralized, and really far away, can you walk into Chuck Schumer's office and yell at him? No, you can't. That's when all the problems start. So I do not believe that. Please explain why high consumer debt is an indicator of a collapsing country. As I said, Australia is not collapsing. Are you not hearing me? Some of you Australian guys are not hearing me. Australia is not collapsing. But you can't say a country with massive consumer debt is a strong economy with good long-term prospects. That's what I disagree with. Not that it's collapsing. Let's see. Notwithstanding your actual number of FBs, LTRs, you got to get off this LTR thing. That's monogamy. If you already asked that question. All right. Do you still believe Bitcoin will be replaced by another technology? If yes, you are wrong. I don't. That was my guess. I don't believe it. I don't know. You need to do more research on Bitcoin if you're a Bitcoiner. Dude, you know how much Bitcoin I own? Hello, I love Bitcoin. Hello. I was guessing, and you could be wrong and I could be right. I don't know. We don't know. Predicting the future is difficult in this. Bitcoin may not be, because the market cap is so big now that you might be right. My initial guess was it'll probably be replaced by Bitcoin 2.0. They could improve. Now, what they could do is improve Bitcoin, right? With the lightning and other shit, they could improve it, which so it won't be the same Bitcoin. That could happen. Sure. Have you ever watched your wife with another man? No, I would not like that at all. That would not turn me on. My wife has watched me with many women, though. She loves that. I have a very rough life. You bluff and say you won't raise a kid. If she doesn't abort, you help raise the kid. I don't know what you mean by that. If PF left you and you had to start dating again, would you require that your FBs needed to travel to you to qualify for MLTR and eventually OLTR wife? MLTR, no. I wouldn't do MLTRs unless they were located where I was located. OLTR wife, of course. Yes, of course. If I got an OLTR wife again, don't know if I do that, maybe. Yes, OLTR wife is not going to be, you don't want an OLTR wife who's permanently long distance. Right. How often do you work out? Your arms look huge. Oh, I don't work out. I work out. What do I do now? I'm about 4 days a week now. I'm ramping back up from my injury last year. I'm not as big as I should be. I'm working on it. You give the functional reasons of why non-monogamy works. You never talk about the moral or philosophical reasons. Yeah, because that's not relevant to most guys. Don't give a shit about the moral or philosophy. You might care. Most guys don't give a shit. Most guys in my audience want to be happy. Non-monogamy is morally superior to monogamy because the vast majority of monogamy involves either cheating, which is immoral. You're lying. I don't have to cheat. I don't lie to anybody. Everyone knows what I'm doing. Or on the woman's side, terminating the relationship sooner than the man was planning. The man is planning to be with the woman the next 57 years. She dumps him in 3 years. And he's like, what? Neither of those problems exist to that degree in non-monogamy. But again, no one cares. Myers-Briggs is astrology for smart people. Disagree. You disagree with that, or I disagree with that? There's not as much science behind Myers-Briggs as I would like. That's why Colby is better and an Enneagram is better. Why can't I have multiple girlfriends? Why can't you have multiple? You can. You're going to have lots of drama and problems because they're all going to get jealous of each other and say, why are you hanging out with her and not me? If you don't mind a lot of drama, you can have multiple girlfriends. I don't like drama, and drama won't make you happy. Playing with fire has a one-sided. I don't know the details of that, and he's a friend of mine. I don't want to comment on that. There are some details that you might not be aware of, and I don't know the details. And just because so-and-so has a one-sided, does that mean that he's going to be with that woman and it's going to be one-sided for the next 25 years? Probably not. Nothing against him. That just statistically doesn't work long-term. You say it's bad for men to impregnate a bunch of women in third world countries. It is my opinion that it's not a cool thing to do. You're welcome to do it. I don't care. But it's my opinion. However, as a man in my masculine biology, it's my masculine biology to spread my seed. So should I deny my biological programming? You could make the same argument about rape. You could literally do it. You could say, well, I'm here to spread my seed, so I should just rape a bunch of girls. And shouldn't I do that? You can ask the same question. Your masculine biology, your OBW, obsolete biological wiring, wants to do lots of stupid shit. You have biology that wires you to do a lot of horrible things. You don't need to do them all. That's one of the few areas I agree with the traditional conservatives. There are a few things your masculine biology wants you to do that are not nice to do. You shouldn't do them. You talk about how bad millennials are. Yes. But I've never heard you criticize older generations arguably had it easier. Well, you haven't read my blogs. I've said numerous times in my blogs, the worst generation in modern American history is the baby boomers. I've said it many, 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 many times. Baby boomers are worse than millennials in terms of what they did to the country. Now, however, the millennials aren't done. Let's see how the United States runs when the millennials are in charge. Right now, the old baby boomers are in charge. Old boomers, their 70s and 80s. That's who runs things right now. Next, it'll be, unfortunately, my generation, Generation X. We're not that great either. And then after that will be, my God, the millennials. I might be dead by then. We'll see. Look at these women. They practice their sexual strategy by getting the top man. But they practice their feminine biology, but can't I, as a man, kind of hypocritical? I've said the same thing about women biology. There's a lot of biology that women follow that is stupid, like getting pregnant with the wrong guy. I know a lot of women who got pregnant with the wrong guy because they're obviously biological and said, I got to get pregnant. Women are just as stupid about this as men, not hypocritical. Not hypocritical. Where did you get the figure of 75% relationships are broken up by the woman? Don't disagree, just curious. That's a really old stat. I had to look that up. It's 3/4. I don't remember. That's from that's an old statistic. I probably should update that. It's probably worse now. How much will I bet? I should update that. How much will I bet it's more than 75% now? It's 80 or 90% in the Western world. I betcha. What influenced you to pull the trigger on HRT? Well, that was a decision made a very long time ago. I feel like it's always best to stay as natural as possible and avoid anything synthetic. How old are you? Are you 51? Wait till you're 51 and see how you feel about that. Why should I become location independent? I'm a plumber here in Texas. Ooh. We're in high demand. With the collapse of America, I'll become a slumlord with multiple women. Can't do that with LI. You can be a plumber, like someone with plumbing experience, who teaches other plumbers how to do as good of a job that you're doing. And it can be 100% location independent business. You can live anywhere in the world. And you could have multiple women a lot easier in other countries than the United States. Now, there is a small percentage of men who, I don't know if you're being facetious or not, who really believe this. They're like, this is great, America's collapsing. I'm going to stay right here and be a slumlord and bang all these chicks who are desperate for my cock. It'll be great when America collapses. You want to do that? Go ahead. That's what I call a high complexity lifestyle. I'd rather have a harem of hot chicks in a country that's doing very well and not live in a slum. But that's me. There are some guys. Yeah. I fundamentally disagree with your belief that the cerveza sickness, you could say COVID-19 now, was lab made. All the data points to it being a lab. If it were, a vaccine would have taken as long to find it if it were lab made. I don't know that. I don't know. I haven't done that research, but all the data I have shows me that COVID was invented in a Wuhan lab. Yes. Australia isn't collapsing. That's surprising. It sounds terrible from everything I've heard. It is terrible. It's stagnating, which is bad. No, I'm not saying Australia is good. I'm just saying it's not collapsing. Now, I also said, I've been on the record about this, it could collapse. It absolutely could collapse. I could be wrong. Australia could go right under. Don't think so. I think it'll stagnate and just be shitty forever. You said flossing is super important. I did the research and it turned out it has nothing to do with preventing cancer, etc. Show me your data. Well, I think about the caveman era. They're super fit and they didn't floss. They didn't eat sugar. You have to compare apples to apples when you make arguments. Cavemen did not eat McDonald's or sugar or burritos, did they? So their teeth were great. Is that true now? No. Now, if your argument is if you eat 100% raw foods the rest of your life, single ingredient foods, 100% clean with no exception the rest of your life, you don't need to floss, then I agree with you. I don't think you're making that argument, though. Here, yeah, the guy right after you. Cavemen didn't eat any man-made carbs that caused dental care. Correct. I don't think reprogramming Bitcoin is possible, making new token, which they've already done with ETH and other altcoins. You might be right. Yeah. You definitely should do more research on Bitcoin. Why? I already own a lot. I'm a supporter. I'm good. Owning Bitcoin doesn't mean understanding it. Not in detail, correct. I'm not a Bitcoin technician, correct. Lightning does not change Bitcoin. The Bitcoin protocol has never been changed since it is. You're probably right. I am not a Bitcoin technical expert, correct. I support Bitcoin. I'm a huge fan. Or else I would own what I own. I'm going to own more shortly. When's the halving coming? When's the Bitcoin halving coming? Is that April? I am waiting for Bitcoin to have a big drop, and then Caleb's going to come in and go. Non-monogamy only works for men who travel a lot. I did non-monogamy for over 10 years without traveling. Incorrect. The average man who does not travel can't pull this off. Devil's advocate. I just give you my stat. Over 10 years, I didn't travel. I lived right in the United States. Traveled a little bit. And all my FBs were in the United States. They were not, I have no long distance FBs outside the United States for 10, 12 years into this lifestyle. Incorrect. I think your cardinal rule, only serve once a week, is wrong. Okay, you better show me some really good data because I've got data. And so is the don't initiate contact often. The problem with that is we can hardly build connections with the women we're dating. Wrong. Your once a week visit can be 3 days long. I had an MLTR before my wife. She would come over Tuesday afternoon, spend the night with me, spend all day Wednesday with me, spend the night with me again, and I'd take her back on Thursday morning. You think we weren't able to build a connection? I still saw her once a week. I didn't contact her too much often outside of that. We were very close for many years. Incorrect. Was your injury epicondyl? No, wasn't that. No. I don't think my injury had a name. I just, I inflamed my tendon right here. It was inflamed. Question: have you ever handled grief in the relationship? It's when a girl quietly quits a relationship and an OLTR model does it happen. If so, how do you handle it? I have never had that in my entire life in Alpha Male 2.0 because that sounds like a monogamy problem. I don't agree with your solution of losing your V card. If you pay for an escort, wouldn't a guy get addicted to easy sex? Yes, I've talked about this. He might. That's why I say you do it a few times and stop. It's better for the guy to go to South America, an easier market. That's a great idea. Not all men can buy a plane ticket to South America. Many men are scared to go to South America, whereas any guy can get a hooker where he lives. That's the difference. Baby boomers need millennials to pay for their diabetes meds. Well, the millennials have no money, so the boomers are fucked. Should American men start leaving the country by 37 years old? American men should be leaving the country. If it's American, they should be leaving now. I wouldn't wait. Get the fuck out now. I got the fuck out. Do you agree? Okay, I'm looking for disagreements, guys. Do you agree that going from a confident beta to an alpha 2.0 rather than a 1.0 to a 2.0 is better since being angry most of the time is stupid? Not necessarily. I have said that I would rather be an alpha male 1.0 than a beta male because at least the alpha male 1.0 is getting laid and has some success and happiness in his life. Beta males are fucked. So I don't quite agree to premise the question, but what is your criteria for promoting women to MLTR and OLTR? You do not promote women to MLTR. She can be an MLTR as soon as you start seeing her. OLTR. She needs to be an MLTR for at least 6 months post talk with very little or zero problems or jealousy. That's the requirement for OLTR. What would you consider deal breakers to disqualify women for both? Well, an MLTR, a woman can't be an MLTR if she lives a fucked up life. If she's a total bitch, not to you, but to other people, if she does a lot of drugs, if she's got massive financial problems, probably not a good MLTR. OLTR, I didn't make Pink Firefly an OLTR for almost 2.5 years. 2 years? For me, man, you better qualify. You better see me for a long time while I'm fucking other women without any complaining. You have to prove to me you can handle this shit. And most women can't. Devil's advocate. Why don't you, let's not do any more devil's advocate. Let's only give me things that you really disagree on. Okay? Let's not do any more devil's advocate. I know you say monk mode is bullshit, but in my opinion, should definitely be beneficial. Your opinion needs to be backed up by data and facts. You need to present those. You can't just say, in my opinion, you're wrong, and then just have a period at the end of the sentence. Doesn't work. You wrote some PFD. What's that? PFD. I don't know what PFD means. Years ago about why monogamy doesn't work with all the stats. And so, but I can't find that in your blog. Can make it available. It's on the blog. It just looks like shit. We are revamping the blogs right now as we speak. Give me about 6 weeks. And the blogs are all going to come back. They're going to be beautiful. All the links will work again. It's going to be great. Very excited. Let's give it about 6 weeks. Wait. Still looking for disagreements. My argument is the alpha male 2.0 lifestyle will be affected, not 100% will be affected by the fertility and demographic collapse. Is this the second part of something else you said earlier? What demographic collapse? I don't, your question needs more context. The World Economic Forum is trying to make a one world government. How long do you think it will take them? A one world government's never going to work 100% because you can't get every country on earth to agree. There's always going to be, some countries who say, like Belarus, who say, fuck you. There are always going to be some outliers. So that's never going to happen. You are wrong. Destroyed. Yep. What a good argument. You said that other countries are not going to submit to the one world government. Oh, yeah. However, the WEF and all these elites are trying their hardest for every country to submit. How do you explain that? They can try all they want. The World Economic Forum, I've talked about this in great detail, do the research, is really, if you look at who that is and who's excited about only green cars by 2030, all that crazy shit, it's America, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Western Europe. That's it. They can try whatever they want. Good luck for them getting Paraguay to go 100% electric cars by 2030. Paraguay laugh in their face. What are they going to do? Are they going to invade Paraguay? So no, this will not happen. It'll get worse. The world will get worse. Yes. Yes. You can own as much as you want, but you shouldn't give investment advice then without understanding BTC. Why shouldn't I give investing advice? You know how much money I've made in Bitcoin? I made a 7-figure amount in Bitcoin. I absolutely can give some investing advice if I case it with, here's my experience over the past since 2015. Not 15, 17. I made a lot of money in Bitcoin. And I have never had a negative return in my entire investment portfolio in any given calendar year in my entire life. And I'm in my 50s. So I can give some investment advice. Yes, I can. You do not have to be a technical Bitcoin nerd to make money with Bitcoin. I'm not, and I have. There you go. Why do you think all forms of game except social circle game is getting worse? There's a number of reasons. I shouldn't be answering this. This is not a disagreement. Women are aware. PUA, pickup artist shit became mainstream. So women are aware of all this shit. Number one. Number two, there's more men. So these night game blogs, a few years ago, they would show, here's a picture of a nightclub in Washington, D.C. in 2009. And they would circle all the girls and circle all the boys about the same, about 50-50. Here's the same nightclub in 2017. And they'd circle all the boys and there'd be like 3 girls. So there's more men. There's a bunch of other reasons. There's 2. There's a lot of reasons. You have discussed, okay, I'm looking for this. Are we done with disagreements? What time is it? Oh shit. Okay, I got to go in a few minutes. You've discussed that I'm looking for disagreements. Any more disagreements that I've not already addressed? I don't think so. All right. I'll answer a few general questions. If there are no more disagreements, okay. You have discussed that a high value woman is subjective to a man in a video. Correct. Can you please clarify what exactly a high value man really is? That's a very open-ended question. Depends on my opinion on Alpha Male 2.0 in terms of societal SMB. What is the context of your question? Then I can answer it. Everyone's have a different opinion. If I said what I think a high value man is, and then Andrew Tate was sitting next to me and he gave you his answer what high value man is, and then Jordan Peterson was sitting here and he gave you his, you'd get 3 different answers, right? So you got to give me the context. As a woman in her 20s, I think, is this a disagreement? I'm so excited. As a woman in her 20s, I think men over 10 years my senior are creepy and should not be allowed involved with women younger than 10 years. I'm not saying it should be legal, but I personally find it creepy. Yes, you are what is called a type 1. There are 3 types of younger women in their 20s. There's type 1s, type 2s, and type 3s. Type 1s think that any man over about 6 to 10 years or so having sex with someone that old is disgusting, gross. It's like fucking my dad. So you're a type 1. You will probably never have sex with a man. Not probably. You won't. Who is much older than you because that's your personality. Type 2s are the exact opposite. Type 2s hate women. Type 2 women hate men their own age. They find them children and stupid and they're idiots. And I like much, much older men. Type 3 younger women are women who don't care about a man's age. So they will generally date men their own age, their own age range. But if an older man comes along who's nice and confident and doesn't look like shit, she'll go there because she doesn't care about age. So you are a type 1. And there are many type 1s, and that's okay. What are your thoughts about not being able to fly anymore in a few years? What? If you don't comply to digital ID, or will I be stuck in Paraguay 12 months a year? You sound like the guys who said during COVID, oh no, we're all fucked. We can't fly anywhere anymore forever. Odds of that occurring are very low. Very low. If there's a worldwide ID, and if there is, there won't be, then you get it. Or you make a decision. You get the worldwide ID, which probably won't happen, or you make a judgment call where you want to stay. It's up to you. How important is mobility to you? You're one of the inspirations for my quitting drinking alcohol. Thank you. That very welcome. That's awesome. That's very difficult. I understand. Why do you think all forms of game except social circle game are getting worse? I already talked about this. Follow up on the demographic collapse. The problem, it will affect economies of most of the world negatively. You mean overall demographic collapse? Yeah, okay. You're talking about the world. Okay. In addition, AI will make online dating much harder, like photos will make in competition. Well, that's going to apply to everybody though. So it will not make it radically harder. Will the demographic collapse affect all economies of the world negatively, or most economies? Yes, correct. It's one of the reasons we're in a collapsing world over the next 30 years. Mm-hmm. Yeah, correct. Your personal high value man definition. My personal definition. I didn't think that through. Let me see if I give you something off the top of my head. A man who has strong alpha male 2.0 foundations. That means A, he makes at least $85,000 a year, hopefully way more than that, location dependent, through his own business he owns and controls. B, he is having sex with at least 2 women every 6 weeks, and both these women are considered cute, at least cute to him. They cannot be average or ugly looking. 3, if he is over the age of 35, he is in very good physical health. He doesn't have to rip six-pack abs, but he's better if he does. If he's very physically fit. Next, he's very happy the vast majority of the time. Lastly, the rest, he's free, which means he has his own business and he's non-monogamous. And he's doing 5 flags. That's another one. High value man is not relying on any one country for anything. He's relying on a basket of countries instead of one, like the United States or Australia. There you go. Do you believe that there is someone for everyone, or do you think that a good portion of men are destined to be incels? I believe that incel is not involuntary. I believe incel is a decision that you're making. Any incel can technically decide to not be an incel and improve himself and change his fucking attitude. Most won't, but they can. The problem with incel is it's involuntarily celibate. That's not correct. It's voluntarily celibate. That's what I believe. Disagreement. If we are allowed to get married at 35, how the hell do we do dating when over 33 principle exists, especially when a type 1 woman OLTR? You can marry women who are over 33. I've dated many women over 33 who had low ASD and were awesome, including ding, 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 my wife. Pink Firefly, I met her when she was 33 or 34, and we got married, and she was awesome. There are lots of women out there, as a percentage, not a lot, but there's a percentage of women over 33 who are perfectly cool with that. Pink Firefly does not have super high ASD. She was not a radical psycho provider hunter. If she was, she would have lasted 3 weeks with me. Pink Firefly likes to watch me have sex with other women while I'm not wearing a condom and I come inside them. Does that sound like a woman who has high ASD provider hunter? No. And she's not the only woman I've been with who are over 33 who's like that. There are lots of them. Now, the vast majority of women over 3 are not like that. But if even 10% are not like that, that's millions of women. Is buying sexy underwear for a 2-year MLTR boyfriend behavior? No, that's fine. You can buy small gifts for an MLTRs. Is buying gifts for MLTR boyfriend behavior? If there's small gifts that don't cost a lot of money and it's infrequent, that's okay. Do you believe Russia is collapsing? Yes. Slowly, not as fast as the West. They are. I just wrote about that in my book. I'd argue that they are due to having rather unstable autocracy, horrible demographic crisis, and of course their media performance in Ukraine. I agree with you. I think they're collapsing slowly. Do you think accelerating AI can reverse the economic collapse stagnation in the U.S.? No, it will not. It's not. There's not just that would be if the America was collapsing because of one problem. It's collapsing because of about 35 problems. In the new Unchained Man, which is coming very soon, I list all of the factors of why America, Canada, Europe are all collapsing. It's like 35 different things. It's not just one problem or two. If it were one problem or two, then AI would fix it. It's not. How will AI fix cultural collapse and how no one in Gen Z wants to work, for example? How's it going to fix the fact that 85% of the stock market is owned by 3 giant corporations? How's it going to fix that? It's probably going to make that worse. So the answer is no. Request, can you make a live on how to use AI to help with online dating, location, dependent business, and other things to help me? I have not used AI to date, but sure. Once Putin is gone, I predict to be very unstable. Yeah. Yep. Nice straw man telling me a tech nerd. I wasn't calling you a tech nerd. I'm saying you don't have to be a tech nerd to advise on whether or not to buy Bitcoin. You don't know the core principles of Bitcoin. You're repeating yourself. We already went through this. Correct. I don't know them. Do you like Owen Cook? No, Owen Cook is a liar. Oh, no, sorry. That's not Owen Cook. That's Charlie Kirk. Owen Cook is perfectly fine. I like Owen Kirk. God, you can tell it's getting late. Owen Cook is fine. I have no big problem with him. I have no big disagreement with him. I don't love him or like him. Owen Cook. Sorry, I meant Charlie Kirk. For some reason, I heard Charlie Kirk in my head. You said Owen Cook. Charlie Kirk is a liar. What would the price of the Unchained Man without course be? Oh, I don't know. $15 maybe? All right. I have to go unless you guys have 1 or 2 more quickie questions. 90daybizbuilder.com. You've got about 4 more days. The deadline to sign up for the 90-day business builder, we will show you how to create your own location independent business that actually makes money in 90 days guaranteed, starting from 0. Open for enrollment right now. The deadline is Monday night, February 5th. So you got about 5-6 more days left. 90daybizbuilder.com. You have to have your phone call scheduled before Monday night because the curriculum begins the following Saturday, which I believe is February 10th. Yes, that's right. And we always get guys, can I sign up? No, the deadline was the 5th. Sorry. Cool. All right. Okay, a few more questions. I got to go. I just asked about economic collapse in the U.S. culture. Already isolate myself from Hollywood propaganda, people I don't like. Your thoughts on Naval Ravikant? I don't know what that is or who that is. Have you seen that Yad Day game? He invented Yad Stop. It's complete buffoonery. Never heard of what you're talking about. I don't spend a lot of time watching YouTube videos or on social media. I'm too busy working, which is what you guys should be doing. Owen Cook is awesome, and so is Caleb. Cool. Is there SMIC coaching? No. What's your opinion on Turkey? My last question. I think Turkey is okay. I think it's okay. Someone doesn't like Owen Cook. Okay, great. All right. So let's talk about Napoleon. UMS and FS successor on its way. FS, yes. UMS, don't know. Don't know what that. All right. I'm going to let you guys go. Have fun. I will see you for the live stream on Monday, but don't wait until then if you want 90-day business builder. You want to get in on this. Step 1 of being free is being location independent, which means you have a business that makes money for you regardless of wherever you are in the world. Cool. All right. Bye, guys.